Manchester United beat Wigan 2-0 at the DW Stadium with goals coming from Diego Dalot and a penalty from Bruno Fernandes. Words from Eric Ten Hag: we should have scored more goals. Dalot added, "This is the first step to Wembley." The people vote Kobbie Mainoo as man of the match, and Marcus Rashford is losing favour with the fan base. This is the Glory Reds podcast. Let's dive into Wigan versus Manchester United in the Emirates FA Cup. All right, so let's get started. Where we always start, and that is with the starting lineup. So Eric Ten Hag decided to go with Andre Onana, Diego Dalot, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Varane, and Johnny Evans. And then in the midfield, we started Scott McTominay, Kobbie Mainoo, and Bruno Fernandes. Up front, we went with Garnacho, Rashford, and Rasmus Højlund. Yeah, that's right. Of course, we were planning to see Casemiro and Martinez to feature in this match because we did get news from the camp that they are back in training and they're due round about this time, right? Round about mid-January. That's when we basically expected to see them feature back into United. And honestly, if they were fit to play, I would have loved them to get some minutes, you know, with the fact that we're going to be playing Spurs next. So just to get their legs, warmed up, for the match and everything like that. But I think for the sole fact that we didn't see them on the bench, it's very unlikely that we're going to see them against Spurs. But anyway, we'll get into that later. This, of course, is the match reaction or review of Wigan in our FA Cup round. So, of course, we did win the game. So let's talk a little bit about the match. All right. We dominated ball possession, about 67% of ball possession, which is not bad. I mean, again, we were playing against Wigan. We totaled number of shots 33, or total number of shots 33, and shots on target 14. And again, I say this not to take shots or take digs at the team, but we were playing Wigan. You know what I mean? Where was this fight and this spirit when we were playing other teams in the league where we needed to be pulling such numbers? And unfortunately, we didn't. Anyway, Rasmus could have scored, with the header, the ball that came in. I think it was from who made that beautiful cross? From Garnacho. Yes, it was from Garnacho from the right hand side. Garnacho hit a nice sweet ball to Rasmus Højlund. Wasn't able to finish it off, but it's all good. Garnacho with a good effort, with his left foot. I didn't even know he could shoot with his left foot, but man, what an effort, right? Takes a shot, hits the crossbar. Unfortunately, we didn't get any goals from that. Marcus Rashford, his shot, stopped by the goalkeeper. I honestly thought the ball rolled in, but I guess it didn't. But hey, man, it is what it is. And of course, Andre Onana being caught early into action, managing to save a shot. And albeit, I think Wigan only had 2 shots on target. So at least, Onana didn't have so much to work with, and at least that he managed to comfortably, stop those 2 shots that were on target. But yeah, guys, speaking more about the match, first and foremost, we're gonna talk about this week in, week out. I think that starting 11 is a starting 11 we're still not yet comfortable with, we're still not yet happy with. We're still seeing the lights of Scott McTominay in that midfield. We're still seeing the lights of Marcus Rashford up front, which we're gonna talk more about. We're still seeing Johnny Evans. Not that he's a problem, but Evans was always supposed to be a temporal signing, a signing, and albeit we are using him in the correct way because he was supposed to be that backup defender, And the reason why I'm saying backup is because we still had Harry Maguire before he got injured. We still had Victor Lindelof before he got sick or whatever, So obviously our 2 main centre backs were going to be Varane and Martinez, and then afterwards it was going to be Harry Maguire and Victor Lindelof, and Johnny Evans was supposed to come after that. So the sole fact that he is playing as a starting player in these matches really goes to show how much of a huge problem there is at Manchester United. But it wasn't really a big issue because, like I said, we were playing Wigan. We are supposed to beat them, and like Ten Hag said in his post match conference, sorry, that we should have got more goals, and we really, really should have got more goals. And I think that's still down to how he sets his team up, how the type the players that he's putting in those certain positions. I really think that he needs to really switch it up, and it really looks like he's giving more and more opportunity to the youngsters. I feel that this was either a game that he should have set up for the Spurs match, basically putting out the team that he wants to play against Spurs to see how they're going to gel and play against and play with each other. That's why I mentioned the likes of Casemiro, Martinez getting a start in the squad, to gain that get that get that chemistry back with the teammates, right? Or he literally could have just used it as an exhibition, or not really an exhibition match, but okay, I'm gonna play the academy boys and see how this works. Not all of them, I'm not getting carried away. I'm not losing my mind. you know, we're just throwing in the lights of like Omari Forson and not being substituted, actually starting the game. Kamwala could have started with Varane, right? Kobe Mainu, obviously he started. Ganacho, obviously he started. I would have loved to see Palestri playing alongside Ganacho. So, in my opinion, it would have been nice to see Ganacho and then Palestri on the other flank. But anyway, it's still good that these academy boys are coming into the squad and are actually playing very well and playing into that system. So yeah, we had a lot of ball possession. I think our ball possession to theirs was like double. I think they probably had like um, 300 and something passes completed, where we had about 600 passes completed. So we really did dominate the game, but we never took our chances. And that's been the huge problem with United this season, is that we are not taking our chances. We should have buried this game, you know. And I do understand it's a once off, and you know, at the end of the day, we did win, so we are going to advance. It's not really going to cripple our situation. The FA Cup tournament, so goals don't really matter that much. Up until the point that it does, but in these early stages, it's not really a huge concern. As long as you get the win and you advance, that's what counts. In the Premier League, it's a bigger problem, right? But in FA Cup, we can get away with it for now. But I guess a positive takeaway is that at least we managed to score. All right. Yeah, we didn't get the amount of goals that we should have got, but I think scoring two goals was going to be better than maybe just scoring a goal, right? Because at this point, even just scoring one goal or drawing, it doesn't feel good. It honestly feels like a loss, especially when you look at our stats of last year, all right, throughout the whole of 2023. Our goal scoring return was not great. All right. And this match was a reflection of how United are just failing and are continuing to fail at not delivering what they're supposed to deliver. Right. And the scary thing about this game is that it reminds me of the Villa game, right? The Villa game, we went and put heart, we went and put energy, we went and we did our thing. We basically replicated these same stats that we did against Aston Villa, right? And then what was the next match after us? I think it was West Ham. And then we play West Ham and we just completely fall over, right? And we just deliver an absolute horrible game. That same energy is not there. Like one game it switched on, one game it switched off. This game we were switched on, but we never managed to capitalize on a lot of the chances. So what game is it gonna be like when we play Spurs? Are we gonna be switched on? Are we gonna be returning these sort of numbers? But yeah, anyway, like I said, the game, I felt we played well. We should have played well, given the players that we have, the caliber of players that we have against their players. This was a no-brainer winner, right? We just had to win. There was no other way around it. And even though the certain players that started that were not comfortable being in the team, like Scott McTominay, I don't think it was really going to impact us a lot in this game as we all watched it, right? It wasn't really as jarring as if we're playing better and competitive opponents in the Premier League, for example. Anyway, moving on. Academy boys, like I mentioned before, it was great to see the Academy boys playing in the squad. Garnacho, Mari Fosen, Kobe Mainu, Kamwala, Hannibal. I'm just reading off the tablet over here because I don't want to miss out on any of the names. But it was really good seeing these Academy boys being integrated into the system. All right. And I think this is what this team needs, is a breath of fresh air, some new energetic spirit into the squad. And these boys understand and they get the system. We had an episode not too long ago with Benito, and we're talking about, these are academy boys compared to the senior players. It seems like they get it. They understand the task at hand. They seem to be understanding what the manager wants out of them, because when they're brought into the pitch, it's like they deliver exactly on what they expected to deliver on. We sort of see a game plan. We sort of see what their role is when they're playing in the match. We don't have to watch for too long to sort of like figure it out. Whereas most of these senior players are on the pitch and we still have no idea what exactly they're supposed to be doing. Prime example, Scott McTominay. He's being played as a CDM, but he's not in those positions. He's playing up front. He's nowhere to be found in that midfield area. Marcus Rashford, what's his role? Is he supposed to be scoring goals? Is he supposed to be assisting the striker? What is his role? Right? It's not clear and evident. And even when they're playing, it's not clear and evident because they're just everywhere and without some sort of a purpose and a plan, which can get a bit daunting and confusing at times, especially when we're losing. It's not a good look. But these youngsters, they come in, they do what they're asked for. You already know what the game plan is, right? When we played Liverpool, that's a prime example of when they brought in Hannibal. You could clearly see what Ten Hag told him, right? And even if it hasn't come out in public, it was very evident and very clear of go and frustrate them, mark them, do not give them an inch of space. Make sure they do not have any time to think, to breathe, to, formulate the next move. Just disrupt that play. And he did that. And every time these academy boys come in, they come in with that in mind, what the manager said, and they come through and they deliver it. And they deliver it with 110% effort. These senior players, look, I'm not trying to bash senior players. They do sometimes deliver on what the manager wants, but you'll find some games it's 110%. And other games, they couldn't be asked. They literally couldn't be bothered, you know? And it just remains like that. So I'm really happy we got to see the Academy boys. A lot of them playing, what you call this, during the match. And it was good because, it's against Wigan. Not so much pressure. We already won the game. That's when he brought in the likes of Kamwala, Pelestri, etc. Mari Folson. So it was really good that we managed to end the game off with the youngsters. And looking at the current situation at this club, it looks like Ten Hag is going to sort of have to rebuild this team from the academy, and which is not a bad thing. It really ain't a bad thing. We really do have some young, amazing talent in the academy, and these boys can really come and change the atmosphere at Old Trafford. They can come and change the way we play football. They can come and bring this modern football into Manchester United, and we don't have to deal with these senior players that are still playing volleyball, that are still stuck in the in the old way of playing football, and they just can't seem to adapt to this new style of football, if you know what I mean. Um, but yeah, speaking on that, let's move on to Marcus Rashford. Like I said in the intro, Marcus Rashford seems to have fallen out of favor with the fans, and he's fallen out of favor with me. And to be honest, he fell out of favor with me last season, regardless of when you and last season was arguably his best season in a United shirt. And last season, I was like, get rid of this guy, right? Get rid of him. I was happy. I appreciated what he was doing for Manchester United, but for the sole fact that I know Marcus Rashford cannot do this consistently season after season, it's not going to help us achieve the goals that we need to achieve. It's not going to help us get to where we need to get. This player needs to leave. And last season, at the end of last season, was the perfect opportunity to get rid of him because I'm pretty sure at that point, his price in the market was sky high. We could have easily got 150 for Marcus Rashford. Whether that was him going to Bayern, Barca, Real Madrid, PSG, with the Arabs, whoever called him up and said, hey, we want Marcus Rashford, we're knocking at your door. We should have sold him to PSG for 120, 150 million. Right. And now look, we're back to the same old Rashford who is just being very inconsistent. Goal scoring has completely dried out. Assists I think he has probably what, maybe three, four in total this season, not really doing what he needs to do. So I do believe that he may still pick up form. He may still hit the double digits in terms of goals by the end of the season. And I still believe that because he's still young, because he's still fit, he's still energetic, he's still fast, I think that he can still go for a good price in the market. I don't see Rashford going for anything less than 60. I really think we can pull off a 60 and higher for Marcus Rashford. In fact, we can even pull a heist with Marcus Rashford and get him for 100 million if we try hard enough, if we play our cards right. If these guys in Manchester do the right thing with this whole new board that's coming in under Sir Jim, we expect those guys to really nail the transfer market, because that's a big thing that's been in the news with Sir Jim coming in and changing the structure of how we buy and sell players, and which players are going to get extensions, which ones are not, who we going to sell, etc., etc., etc. We can only hope and pray that Marcus Rashford can be part of those players that need to be sold, because he is on a high wage, right? And we do need to clear our wages. Remember, we haven't qualified for Europe, so there's no money coming in from there, right? We're gonna go into this next transfer window on a very tight budget, right? And that's why I'm speaking for the academy players, and that's why I'm saying that, look, for a while we're probably going to have to source a lot of these players that we need in that first team from the academy, right? They're gonna need to be that stopgap in the meantime, while United start being competitive again, start finishing in European qualifying places, start participating in European tournaments, so we can be getting that European money. But in the meantime, the way it's looking right now, we have to offload a lot of the deadwood, a lot of these players who are not consistent, these players that can fetch us some good money that we can use in the transfer windows to be getting these players that we need. Because yeah, it's not looking good. Rashford literally could not be asked yesterday. Again, he's the He's the embodiment of United, how they have been this season. The literal embodiment, of that inconsistency of one game they're giving you the heart and energy and all, and the next game it's you just don't know what's going on. Another game it's average, but there's no game plan. It's everywhere and everywhere. These you just don't know what to get out of it. And yesterday, prime example of, you know, it was, you just didn't know what to say about Marcus Rashford's performance. Because like, okay, were you told to try and go and win this game for us? Were you tried to go and make things happen for us to win this game? Were you told to conserve energy? Were you told, you get so confused. And I know a lot of the time we always use this phrase, as football fans, when we say, were you told to go and do this? Or he has been told to go and do that. Where I believe that a lot of the time in these moments, you just have to rely on your own intuition. Yes, you have to follow what the manager says, but it doesn't give you an excuse to be taking outrageous shots from 30, 40 yards off the goalpost and think you're going to score it, in sort of impossible situations. Yeah, we know he can score from there. We know he's got a good shot, but sometimes it just feels like, really, you're not in goal scoring form yet. Those are the type of chances that you want to be taking, you know. And then in situations where he could take a shot at goal, you can see that confidence is not there. So he rather just makes a pass instead of taking the chance. And you're like, but then why didn't you take a chance? You're in a very good space to take a shot at the goal. Why didn't you? And because of that inconsistency and the ups and downs, we don't even know how to comment and what to say in those situations, because we are honestly just as confused as Marcus Rashford is on that pitch making these decisions. So look, I'm not trying to make an agenda out of Marcus Rashford. I love him. I really appreciate what he has done for this club, especially at that time when we needed him, when we had all our forward players injured and sold, and we needed a player to come in from the academy. But I think we should have brought him in, let him do what he needed to do. And as soon as we got our senior players back, he should have been thrown back into the academy for him to continue developing his game. Because I think with Rashford, he was rushed into the scene too fast. And I think a lot was expected from Marcus Rashford because of how he kicked off, you know, and we just expected this like consistent greatness from him. We just expected him to be like this explosive player, like almost like Ganacho. Ganacho burst on the scenes last season, almost like what Rashford did. Rashford came in very young, you know, um, from the academy. He went and scored 2 goals against Arsenal. Before that, I think it was in the FA Cup or some other competition where he also scored 2 goals. So I think he had like 4 goals in 2 games. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but he burst onto the scene, and it was also during a time where, man, United actually have had like injury and player problems for a minute. But anyway, um, yeah, he just came onto the scene where we're looking for something new, fresh, and exciting. Because I think a lot of the forward players that we had at that time were literally coming towards the end of their careers. Van Persie, Rooney, Welbeck was not in favor of the managers or on form. I can't remember if he was sold or we still had him at that time. Chicharito, the likes, everything like that. I think Janos Eyes at that point left for Dortmund or whatever. But in any case, I think Rashford's time at United has honestly expired, and I do believe that these youngsters should be given a chance, should be given an opportunity. The same opportunities that Rashford had, these boys deserve to have this opportunity right now because they are proving that they need to be started. They're proving that they need to be playing ahead of Rashford because of what they're delivering on the pitch. So honestly, it would be taboo at this moment for players like Ganacho to be benching for Marcus Rashford. Players like Palestri, even though he hasn't been given a lot of chances for him to be benching, Ahmed should be starting in that team. Ahmed should be given a run of games to say, let's see what you can do. Because we've been consistently playing Rashford and he's been horrible this season, producing nothing for us. So I think it's fair that he sits down, Ahmed comes in and he's given a run of games and say, okay, let's see what you can do. Because honestly, having Rashford on that pitch is like playing with 10 men, right? With like playing with 9 men on the pitch. He's not giving us anything. He's not doing anything for us. So it's really the same thing. Whether we want to play him or Ahmed, like with Ahmed, we're taking a chance, but it could heal something. With Rashford, we know we're not getting anything in return, right? I don't mean to be harsh or to be cruel, but it just is what it is. But anyway, like I said, I really hope that Rashford can, find his form, not only to be sold, but maybe he just needs a new environment. Maybe he just needs to be another club, where they can utilize his skills better than what we can utilize him at Manchester United. And remember, not all players are for all clubs, right? This is not the first time a big player has gone to a team and not done it. We've seen of late Hazard, one of the best players in Europe in the Premier League, went to Real Madrid and couldn't cut it. It just is what it is. Some players are just not suited to play in some systems and not suited to play in some teams. All right. And the way Eric Ten Hag wants to play and the way Marcus Rashford is playing, I just think that at this point in time, I just don't see his value in the team, and I think he should leave. And I think he's still a great player. I think he can still achieve a lot of things in the career that he has left, and he'll definitely go and do big things for other teams. But I just don't think he can do that for Manchester United, especially at this point in our stage of getting back to where we need to be. Anyway, guys, that's the match. Reaction review of Wigan. Spoke a little bit about the players. But yeah, like I said, it was a decent match. Next up is Spurs. Want to be playing them this coming weekend, if I'm not mistaken. I'll get my dates right, but just look out for the match preview that we're gonna do. Obviously, it's gonna be me and Benito. We usually cover those together. If anything happens or whatever, probably he'll do it alone or I'll do it alone or whatever. But anyway, stay tuned for that one that's coming next. Injuries, just to give you guys an update, like I said, there are a couple of players that are coming back from injury, and Ten Hag did mention that as well. Not towards, but during his post-match conference. So he did speak about some players are ill, and honestly, I don't get this illness thing. Like, it's like I don't know if they are really ill or there's an issue or they're injured, But of late, there've just been a lot of players that have been ill at very awkward times and for very long stints, and we're not really even understanding what illness they have. It's like he's ill. Like, okay, does he have flu? Does he have a stomach bug? Is it COVID? What is it? It's just illness. So I don't know if that's how they tackle it nowadays, or of late. They don't want to give away too much information on it. They just rather say he's ill instead of being specific, you know, because they're dealing with whatever they need to deal with. But anyway, so Luke Shaw, Casemiro, Ericsson, Ahmed apparently are ill. So I don't know if they're gonna be fit and healthy by that match. And then we have I could have messed it up. So if I messed it up, forgive me. Casemiro and Martinez are coming back from injury and training. So like I said, because they're not on the bench and because they didn't start in this Wigan match, I highly doubt that we're gonna see them play for the Spurs match. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. If anything, at best, maybe they'll be on the bench and then make a cameo in the second half. But starting, I just don't see it. But anyway, just to reiterate, Casemiro, Martinez coming back from injury, Ahmed, Ericsson, Luke Shaw, Harry Maguire, ill, right? And Victor Lindelof. So yeah. Anyway, guys, thank you once again for listening to this episode of the Glory Reds podcast. You can catch us on all your favorite podcasting platforms for Glory Reds FC. And of course, we are now on YouTube. And like I said, next match is against Spurs. Look out for our preview, and we'll catch y'all guys then. Peace.